Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to talk about how to really read a video game. I'm not just talking about, mashing buttons and getting to the end screen. I mean, analyzing them, breaking them down, and really understanding the stories, the science, and the history that's hiding just under the surface. And our guide on this journey? None other than one of the internet's most legendary channels, the Game Theorists.
So, let's kick things off with a pretty big question. Are video games just fun little distractions? Or are they something more? I mean, think about it. We analyze films for their camera work, we break down books for their hidden themes. Well, games are absolutely packed with those same layers of meaning, just waiting for someone to find them. They're these incredibly complex works of art, and today, we're going to learn how to read them.
The Game Theorists basically built their entire empire on this one idea. Their whole approach, it's not just about finding a few cool Easter eggs here and there. No, it's a real framework for analysis. So what we're going to do is break down their three main methods to show you how you can see the games you love in a completely new way. All right, let's get into it.
First up, we've got the method that really put them on the map, being a lore detective. This is all about treating a game's world less like a playground and more like a crime scene. See, the story isn't always just handed to you. A lot of the time, you have to find the clues yourself and piece the whole puzzle together.
This is exactly what they did with the indie horror game Amanda the Adventurer. They didn't just play it, they put on their detective hats. They scoured for secret VHS tapes, they decoded hidden messages, and they paid close attention when a character like Wooly the Sheep said something that just didn't fit the show's happy-go-lucky vibe. They even connected the game's evil company Hamlin Entertainment to the real-world fairy tale of the Pied Piper of Hamlin. You see, every little piece is a thread in a much, much bigger story.
And this right here is super important. Being a lore detective isn't about getting it right on the first try. It's a process. As new chapters or updates get released, like with a game like Poppy Playtime, the theories have to evolve. You have to go back, re-examine the evidence, make new connections. The story just gets clearer and clearer over time. It's this awesome, constant process of discovery.
So what this really does is it completely flips your role on its head. You're not just a player anymore, just following along. You become an active investigator. You're almost like a co-author of the story, digging for the truth that the game developers were clever enough to hide for you to find.
Okay, let's switch gears to our second method, the industry historian. With this lens, the focus shifts. It's not just about what's inside the game anymore. It's about the world around the game. Because really, to get a game's true impact, you have to understand where it sits in history. And there's no better example than the epic saga of the console wars. This wasn't just about who had the most powerful machine. It started with the super simple Magnavox Odyssey, then the industry almost died completely in the Atari shock of '83, only to be single-handedly saved by Nintendo. And from there, it just exploded into this massive rivalry. Every new player on the block, Sega, Sony, Microsoft, they didn't just release a new piece of plastic, they totally changed the game.
In the 90s, this war was all about identity. Nintendo cornered the market on family-friendly, right? Building their kingdom on characters like Mario and Zelda. Sega, though, they went for cool. They were edgy, fast, and rebellious. Their whole slogan was, Genesis does what Nintendo don't. They even kept all the blood and gore in Mortal Kombat for the home console, while Nintendo famously toned it way down. But just look at the numbers. Even with Sega's aggressive marketing and their famous blast processing, the Super Nintendo still outsold the Genesis by almost 20 million units. So, why? Well, it's because context is everything. Nintendo's super strong brand and its killer lineup of exclusive games turned out to be way more powerful than just raw specs and edgy ads. Understanding that history helps us see why some games and consoles win and others fade away. All right, for our third and final method, we're jumping from history class straight into the science lab. This one's called the science of worlds. This is where we take real-world principles, physics, biology, chemistry, and we apply them to a game's universe to see if it actually holds up.
So let's use the game Arknight's Endfield as our test case. It's set on a moon called Talos 2. The very first question a science theorist would ask is, hey, could life even exist here? And for that, we need to be in what's called the habitable zone, or as you might know it, the Goldilocks zone, that perfect spot where it's not too hot, not too cold, but just right for liquid water.
And it's not just about location. For life as we know it, you basically need a 3-item checklist. You need liquid water, which, hey, we see all over Talos 2.
You need nutrients, which seem to be there in the game's plants and animals, and you need a constant source of energy, like a star. So far, so good.
But here's where it gets complicated. See, Talos 2 is a moon, not a planet. And it's probably tidally locked, which just means the same side is always facing its huge gas giant. That creates massive problems, scientifically speaking. You'd have insane temperature swings from one side to the other and frequent, long eclipses that would block out all that energy from its star. Honestly, based on real-world science, long-term survival there seems pretty much impossible.
But, and this is so cool, the game has its own brilliant sci-fi solution baked right in. The people living there use advanced terraforming tech, which is powered by this fictional energy-rich crystal called originium. They're literally engineering their own environment to make it survivable. So the game creators sought a real scientific problem, and they wrote a plausible fictional solution right into the story. How awesome is that?
So we've looked through the eyes of a detective, a historian, and a scientist. But when we put it all together, what's the big takeaway here? Why does looking at a game this way actually matter?
This chart really sums up our little journey perfectly. When you're a lore detective, you're uncovering secret stories. When you're an industry historian, you're understanding the culture and the business that made the games we play. And when you're a scientist of worlds, you get to appreciate just how smartly designed these fictional universes can be. Each lens just gives you a totally different and way richer point of view.
At the end of the day, this whole thing is about so much more than just solving puzzles. This kind of thinking encourages us to be more critical, to talk with other fans and theorists in the community, and to really see games for what they are. A complex, deeply rewarding art form. It elevates the way we play.
So I'm going to leave you with a little homework. The next time you fire up a game, don't just play it, read it. Look for the clues, think about its history, question its world. Who knows what secrets are just sitting there, waiting for you to find them. Thanks for watching.